Hello everybody, how y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. I know it's been a little bit since I've done a video. Haven't really seen a need to do it any. Instead of getting up here talking about things every single day. Really don't see the point. So, anywho, yeah, I'm just letting it go, kind of focusing a little bit more on my physical needs, and of course, along with it, the psychological, blah, blah, blah. So, anywho, I figured, well, it's been a bit. Maybe I should come up here and do a video. So, first of all, I have kind of been doing posts anyway over on the blog. So, if you're ever looking for maybe updates or what have you, pop on over there as well to see if maybe I've done some sort of posting over there and not necessarily a video. Okay, so but yeah, and actually just before starting to record this video, I did another post excuse me, for my what do you call it? Oh, that's right. I need to do that yet too. Anyway, posted a recipe. My brain is kind of still is on some other things too at the same time. So anyway, yeah, like I said, pop on over there. You could check out a recipe that I just recently created. Basically, I was looking for something different. Really wasn't quite too sure what, and I thought about maybe something with noodles, but I was just like, oh, I don't want anything heavy, And I kept looking at the rices, and there's this one that I kind of had my eye on for a while. It's rice turmeric, and I'm like, and of course, those of you who have been following me for a while know how much I tout on turmeric, especially as an anti-inflammatory, something that helps with pain relief. As you all know, I deal with a lot of it over in here and have been a little bit here lately. So I'm just kind of had my eye on it, but I was just like, oh, I don't know. With rice, I don't know. And it's from Mahatma. So it is non-GMO, not organic, but it's like, okay. I figure what the heck, I'd try it. And I was wanting also some sort of vegetable, green vegetable, not necessarily something like carrots or what have you. I was actually looking for broccoli. But unfortunately, with where I was at, the broccoli was not looking too good. And of course, as you all know, I'm a big one for organics, especially when it comes to produce. Oh, and those of you who are new to the channel or what have you, welcome. Okay. So I was like, no, I wasn't going to dare chance the broccoli that they had. And with those stores, I'm not a big fan of their produce to begin with. So I was like, and I didn't want to have to drive the 20-30 minutes out to Whole Foods. That's the closest one that's to me right now. So I was like, well, all right. And I took a look at the spinach. I'm like, that actually sounds really good. Some cooked spinach. And personally, I prefer to cook my own spinach, not get stuff in the can. Okay. I'm not Popeye. Okay. I'm not going to be squeezing the can and letting it shoot up and then plop into my mouth. Okay. No. I prefer to cook my own spinach. So, and I was just like, that actually sounds pretty good, darn good. Cook up the rice and then also add some spinach at the same time. I was reading the directions on the package and everything. I was like, well, let me just try it. So I did, along with some fried chicken on the side. Basically, it's not fried chicken in what you've seen, like in the movies, especially the one that I'm thinking of that came out several years back, based in the 50s. Okay, if you know which one I'm talking about. I don't know the name of it, so I can't cite it or anything. But anyway, now I'm talking about just taking some olive oil, heat it up in a fry pan, plop your chicken in there. I prefer organic chicken breasts. I've always been a big fan of white meat. I'm not a big fan of dark meat unless it's in soup. Then it's okay. But as far as, cooking it up like that, I don't know. It's just something about it. I prefer chicken breast out of all the parts. So anyway, throw that in with some pink Himalayan sea salt, some cracked peppercorn, and some garlic powder. Good to go. Okay, turning it over every once in a while too, so it cooks evenly. So I had made that the other day, and I was just like, "Wow, this is phenomenal." I think you may use basmati. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, I think it's. I could definitely tell it's some sort of wilder rice because it had that flavor to it, that wild rice flavor. But it was really, really good. And I'm like, that was so good. I want it again. And I felt energized. I felt like I had energy again. I'm like, okay, there's something in that I needed, that I feel like I'm lacking. So I decided, you know what? I ran out to Whole Foods yesterday because I was out of this one cereal that I really, really like. And I've been having a cereal craving here lately. And I'm not talking Fruit Loops or anything. No, no disrespect or anything. It's good for some. I am wanting this one in particular. It's from Cascadian Farms. The only place I'm able to find it is Whole Foods. Unfortunately, we don't have Sprouts here, and Trader Joe's is the same distance. I don't know if they would sell it at Trader Joe's anyway. I've never been a big fan of Trader Joe's. I just have never found anything there that really appealed to me. It's just me, okay? I've been a Whole Food shopper. I find that anything that I'm looking for with my dietary needs and so forth, I find it at Whole Foods. Yeah, I might pay a little bit higher, but to tell you the truth though, I have shopped Sprouts and I find that they're actually more expensive than Whole Foods. Sorry folks, but do your comparison shopping. That's the way I look at it. I don't know, maybe it was just the area I was living in, but that's what I have found, at least with the things that I buy. So anyway, but don't get me wrong, Sprouts is good for certain things too. So if I couldn't get it at Whole Foods, I could just run over to Sprouts and get it. But I'd have to pay more, but at least I'd be able to get it. So anyway, I ran over there, like I was saying, I ran over there yesterday anyway to get that, and I figured I'd pick up some chicken and some rice so I can make my own rice and so forth, and a couple other things. And I just got done making it today, experimenting with trying to make that same thing myself instead of relying on a package. Wow, even better. So I threw the recipe over there on the blog, set ready to go for it. I do not, when it comes to cooking, baking is one thing, but when it comes to cooking, I typically don't measure anything. I just dump, okay? So I didn't list out the ingredients. They're in with the paragraph with the instructions that I did, and it was really good. So, but just to let you know, basically all I did as far as adding in the turmeric, I just took my tea-ball mixture that I've been using to make a cup of ginger turmeric tea, okay? I just took that and dumped it into the water, okay? That's all I did. Not the shreds themselves. I had them in the tea ball, but I took the tea ball with it in it, threw it into the water that, used the same amount of water as what the packaging calls for to make the rice, okay? And I brought it up to a boil on high heat, reduced it down to medium heat, and threw the tea ball into the water for just a couple minutes. That was it, about 2, maybe 3 minutes, something like that. And just let it soak in there a little bit. And I took the tea ball out, set it aside, so that way I could make my cup of tea. still, like I usually do. And before I threw the rice in, I added in some cracked peppercorn, some garlic powder, onion and onion powder, and also a tablespoon of butter. I just like to have, I always like a little bit of butter in with my rice instead of oil. So, and I like salted butter personally, at least if I'm going to buy store-bought instead of making my own butter. So, but yeah, that's what I did. And after the butter melted, that's when, and I know there's always big controversy between washing your rice ahead of time and not washing it, excuse me, but I always wash my rice ahead of time. So that's what I did, and toss that in, let that cook down, and when it was cooked down enough basically to get all of the moisture out of there, you know, all the excess water, that's when I threw in the spinach. I took spinach, just a handful, threw it in there, let it cook down because the pot that I was using wasn't enough, and then I threw in another. There was enough room to throw in a full 2 handfuls initially, but it was okay, you know, no big deal to do it 2 at a time, or 1 at a time, excuse me, and let those cook down 1 handful at a time, and good to go. Yeah, and then of course, excuse me, I had my chicken going already, cooking on the side there, and nice, good meal. Phenomenal. So, oh, excuse me. But I've been keeping up with doing my yoga stretches, especially that one stretch. Friday, my body was really pushing against me when it came to, especially this area in here, was really pushing against me with trying to do my stretches. Had issues again this morning. I figured I'd give it a day, let my body rest and so forth, so I didn't do anything yesterday, but I'm like, we're going back to it today. And my body was kind of fighting against me today as well. But then again, when I woke up this morning, had a bit of a low sugar, so I ate some cereal. But then when I didn't chase it with any insulin, so when my body started digesting everything, of course, my sugar went skyrocket. So I'm sure some of that is because of that. I had an inspiration the other day also. And I only bring this up in hopes it might help somebody else out, as I'm not trying to lock myself in to a box or anything, and I'm not trying to say, oh, this is what I've been dealing with for the last 3 years. It's nothing like that, but it did inspire me, and it did give me something to maybe think about, and maybe we meaning me and especially, of course, my medical team, whatever, should maybe look into as a possibility. I've often wondered over the last year, especially when things started getting really bad with me, or taking a turn towards bad, we'll put it that way. Maybe I have something neurological going on. Of course, one possibility, especially with being a type 1 diabetic now, is the possibility of neuropathy. That is something. Particularly since this past summer, I have started in with stiffness in my extremities. And even with losing weight now, because I've lost about 5 pounds now, and that's something else I'm working on as well, I'm still feeling it. And I was kind of taking the stiff feeling, especially the swelling that I have been dealing with. I've been wondering if maybe, because, well, let's face it, I lived in desert environment for the most part for the last 20 years. Basically, I've lived in the desert for 20 years. So what's moving from there to here, for those of you who don't know, I'm in Minnesota, where it's a little bit more humid. It's definitely not called the land of 10,000 lakes for no reason. It's been more of a humid environment, especially this past summer when the temperatures start going up. Of course, right along with it has been the humidity, and especially with storms and so forth, it's been, my understanding, a little bit of a wetter summer than usual. So I was kind of taking it as that, but and because it coincided, both coincided at the same time. So I was just like, okay, that's probably what it is. I need to, get rid of this and so on and so forth. Well, humidity has been down. I have lost weight, a good 5 pounds, like I said, and I'm still dealing with stiffness and some swelling. So, and I know it's not heart disease because, I've gone through all that testing. EKG is fine, blood pressure is fine. I've been through a stress test, all of that. So we know it's not heart related, unless possibly stroke. Stroke can be one of those tricky ones that can be difficult to identify, but, and I only bring that up, well, partly because, of course, that is heart related, but also the fact that I also have been dealing with vertigo. And I was dealing with that this morning when I was trying to do my yoga this morning. Even when I was out for my walk, I was dealing with some vertigo. Some of that, and it's different. The dizziness is different than what you deal with when you are dealing with either sugar spikes or sugar lows. Okay, this is different. There's a very different variation. So, but anyway, I kind of have wondered if maybe by chance dealing with something neurological, possible vitamin mineral deficiencies. Maybe we should do a full workup on that. If we're going to do that, though, there is something else I researched that should be considered, aside from possible neuropathy setting in, especially with everything that I'm dealing with. One of the things that I was aware of, but I had never considered, is something called stiff person syndrome. Used to be called stiff man syndrome, but of course they changed it to be not so gender specific. You may know that because of be a little familiar with that term because of Celine Dion. That's what she's been dealing with for several years, many years. She only recently came out about it, basically last summer, when just before she sang at the Olympics, she came out with that documentary, and I did watch it, and I did relate to it. I liked some of her music. I was never like a huge fan or anything, but it was one of those things where you're like, your instincts are telling you maybe I should watch this, and I was glad I did. I related to her very, very much so, especially when she was talking about singing and the difficulties that she had right in her chest area. I just, that really stuck out with me. At the time, I was just like, oh my gosh, girlfriend, yes, I can relate to that so much, especially at that time, because I was having difficulties. And again, I'm having those difficulties again. And, when I'm out working, for those of you who don't know, I'm a delivery driver. It's one of the few things that I can do now, where I don't have to worry so much about dealing with aromas and so forth. That's a big catalyst trigger, basically, for flare-ups in here. It just certain aromas would just catch and will cause my airways and the muscles and so forth to just seize right up in my chest. So, but with watching that at the time, I was just, well, anyway, like I was saying, as far as singing, when I'm out, I like listening to music, and yeah, I like to sing on the top of my lungs. Yeah, I can't hold a note, but I don't give a fuck, It's just me. I'm expressing myself. I like a song, or, I like to scream, sing on top of my lungs too, just as much as the next person, Who cares? It isn't about being able to hold a tune or whatever. It's about just being in the moment and feeling that moment and everything. And I just love that, And at the time when I was watching her documentary and she was describing it, I was just like, oh yes, I can relate to that. Well, I've been having those issues yet again. So, even right now, we're trying to talk, take the deep breaths. I'm feeling it catching right in here right now. So anyway, I'm like, okay. But, at the time, I was just like, yeah, I can relate, blah, blah, blah. And I moved on, and of course I had all my other issues I was dealing with also, and so on and so forth. But, here recently, it was like, I was actually on my way to the grocery store the day that I decided to try that rice packet. I was on my way. There was a song that came on my streaming service, and of course I was just doing the best I could, sing on top of my lungs, and that's when it hit me. That's when I remembered that's basically what I just described with Celine Dion with watching her documentary last summer. And I'm like, maybe I should check into this with symptoms and so forth. So anyway, after I got home, got done cooking, eating, blah, 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 I started looking at that. And that hit me hard with looking at the symptoms, and even with what can trigger it. One of them being type 1 diabetes. Hello. I'm a type 1 diabetic. And I never put it together. So, but, of course there has to be testing done. One of them is blood work. They need to test to see if about any. Basically, they have to do an autoimmune test. Basically, to see if you're testing positive for the GADs. Of course, I'm going to with GAD 65 because that's the one that triggers type 1 diabetes. So there is that. But the question is, what about any of the others? It's that testing, plus there's a neurological test, plus sometimes they like to test to see, it basically pulls, do a spinal tap to see if you have any GADs in your spinal column. So, though it's something I think that would be a good idea for me to discuss with my primary when I go see him on the 6th. I know they've been trying to push for, things like a mammogram and colonoscopy and all this, all the routine crap. It's like, look, but that's just money makers for them, basically. Oh, you're due for these. And it's like, you know what? Fuck you. I know I'm fine in those areas. What we need to find out about is this. No, I know I don't have breast cancer. I realize I keep talking about, this in through here or what have you. And oh, where is that at and what's right in that area? No. Okay. I already know that. And part of the reason why I know that is because I don't know how many times I've had red and white blood cell counts done on me, even here recently, last month, basically, when I was at the hospital, and all of it came back fine. So, and if I was fighting cancer, any way, shape, or form, or anything like that, then I'm sure those counts would be off. That's one of the reasons why I kind of don't look at SPS, stiff person syndrome, because those counts are fine. But that's what I mean, though, at the same point, it's something I need to discuss with the doctor to get his opinion. Fortunately, of course, too, I'll be at Mayo, excuse me, at the end of next month. That's something I can discuss with them as well. So, even though right now it's looking like it's the same old as far as, testing and so forth is concerned, and even the follow-up appointment that I have with them, it's with a pulmonologist, that it's things that I could see about discussing with them to get their opinion as opposed to a regular primary. So, and if push comes to shove, I've already discussed with the health insurance as far as needing a referral to specialists is concerned, and they said that I don't. It's just going to be the different doctors' offices as to whether they're going to be requiring a referral or not. And I know I would need to be able to track down somebody who specializes in those specialties, basically, either neuropathy or possibly SPS. And like I said, I am not saying that that's what it is. At the same point, one of the things that my doctor, my primary, did do a blood work request for was to find out my protein count, and my protein count was low. And that really got me to thinking, too, because it doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, because I eat a lot of protein. And I mean a lot of protein. So the question is, why? Why is the protein count low? So, yeah, there could be an underlying reason. Maybe my body is eating all my protein, and there's a reason why my body is eating all the protein. So, those are questions that I need to see about asking the doctor. Get to the bottom of it and see what he has to say. I don't know, maybe because of the allergy situations, especially the poor air quality we had here this past summer. Maybe my body was looking for that extra energy, eating more of the proteins than usual and so forth. It is awfully strange that all of a sudden I would start craving cereal, especially with milk in it. And I'm not somebody who drinks milk, and it's just like disgusting. To me, it's, ugh. I've always found milk to be very disgusting. Always preferred dry cereal, or maybe just a tiny bit of milk, but I've actually been filling my bowl with milk. Weird, I know. So obviously my body is looking for things. Maybe my allergies, and especially with the poor air quality we had this past summer, maybe that's, triggering something. I don't know. That's the thing. I'm just trying to think of different things that have been going on and so forth that could be the root cause, or maybe there's something else going on in my body that could be the root cause. And I'm just trying to explore all options. So, and my body, let's face it, my body did get down pretty bad this past summer with my getting all those mouth sores and infections and so forth. And it's like, yeah, something's up here. So, we'll see. But anyway, I figure I would do all of that and everything one of the posts that I did too was my kachinas. I've had these kachinas for the last 17 and a half years. Yeah, I found them a month after my mom passed away, and that was 2008. So 17 and a half years I've had these kachinas. And especially my Zuni sun god. He's been through a few things here and there, but never anything like this. But I found it very interesting with them. I finally broke them out. I've been really missing the Southwest. I mean, spiritually, I've been missing the Southwest, and I'm like, I need that energy right now. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna unpack my kachinas. At least my bigger ones that I have. I have 3 smaller ones that I've had out, but anyway, that's the 2 that I posted over on the blog, and it's interesting unpacking them. My Zuni sun god. Well, first I didn't pack them in any particular order. I had no intention to, but I unpacked my Roadrunner one first, and his nose is broke a little bit, needs to be glued back on. But what was interesting was I unpacked my Zuni sun god, and his right arm, broken right here. And I mean, it's broke clean off. So I did get some wood glue to see about fixing them. I don't believe in replacing. These guys are very important for me. So much so, even with moving out here, knowing that they would have to survive an airport, I was even trying, with all of my native stuff, I was trying to find a home for them beforehand, and nope. So I brought them out with me. I'm glad I did. So, but anyway, I found it interesting that with his arm being broken completely off, especially where it's broken off, I'm having the same problems. This is the worst of it right here that I've been dealing with, and that's exactly where his arm is broken off. And it didn't really occur to me until after I got done posting that. It was like an hour or 2 later after I got done posting it with my Roadrunner. Where else have I been having issues? My nose. Both places. I have to fix them. I'm going to today, even if it means I can't work tonight, because I still really need a shower. Yeah, I'm going to be taking care of them. So, but anywho, yeah, very poignant, to say the least. So anyway, I thought I would share that with all of you, with everything that's going on. Little Miss is doing great. She's actually curled up in her beddy sleeping, and I've been keeping up with my my calendar, with my journaling, basically. I've been enjoying that a lot. I really, really have been enjoying that a lot. So, and I need to take a run down to Walmart anyway for, I got a couple prescriptions down there that I need to see about picking up. And that was the other good thing with this insurance that I'm on. My sensors are covered 100%. So, yay. Love that. And my syringes, which is surprising. Usually they don't like to cover syringes. I still have to pay copay for my insulins, but at least my syringes are, and the sensors are covered. So, and I still got to fight for the Admelog with getting that covered instead of one of the other ones, the List Pro or the Humalog. It's like, no, I'm going to call the insurance. See what we can do about that. I don't want to have to switch. I don't know how I might wind up reacting with everything else that I have going on. So, and I've got plenty. I think I've still got a bottle and a half left over from when I was on Medicaid out there in Vegas. I showed up here, I had I think it was 8, 9, 10 bottles, something like that. Yeah, I was just stockpiling it. As soon as it would come up for a renewal, I just went ahead and let it renew. because I wasn't paying anything when I was out there. So I'm like, fuck it, just stockpile it. So yeah, but doing good, not doing too bad. And I'm getting caught up with everything as far as the car is concerned too. I need that car to get down there. I'm looking at with as far as Mayo is concerned, because it's only about an hour and a half drive down there. Seriously thinking about just driving it and driving down there, driving back, sort of thing. But we'll see as we get closer to see where we're at and everything. So, all right, that's what I got for everybody. All right. So I hope that you're doing well. I hope this is at least educational, maybe especially maybe helping other people who are going through the same thing, or you know somebody, or maybe you're just curious, or maybe you're just, how do I put it? I don't want to say arrogant or ignorant, but there it is. And maybe you're just looking to educate yourself, maybe to help understand, especially trying to understand why certain people, yes, COVID is done and over with more or less, but you don't understand why some people still walk around with wearing masks still, even when it's not cold and flu in season. I'm one of the reasons why, okay? Because unfortunately, there are some of us who are still dealing with it, okay? And don't want to take any chances on getting sick. And even if it winds up not being something neurological, with me being a type 1 diabetic, that means I'm autoimmune deficient, excuse me. And there's quite a few of us out there in the whole world who are just like that. So, candy attitude. All right? All right. And unfortunately, I deal with it quite a lot here. So that's one reason why I bring it up. All right. Love you guys. Talk to y'all soon. Love you.